Welcome, dear friends, to my video lecture on Naturalism Philosophy. Naturalism is termed as materialism. According to this philosophy, the basis of the world is matter. Mind is also a form of matter or an element of matter or a synthesis of both. In a way, mind is subordinate to matter. Matter is superior to mind, in other words. Naturalistic philosophy defines life in terms of material and chemical laws, and it emphasizes the relationship between power, speed, and matter as of the nature of causal relationship. According to naturalism, only nature is everything. Nothing is before and beyond nature. Hence, man should investigate the truths of nature by scientific methods with all his capacities and resourcefulness. Naturalists believe that due to the advancement of human civilization and development of society, man has gone away from nature. If he comes nearer to nature, his development will be natural and normal. This is what they hold. According to naturalists, the ultimate reality is of nature or matter. It may be noted that naturalists do not believe in spiritual development. They deny the existence of any such things as the supremacy of God, immortality of soul, and the freedom of will. They don't believe in all this. To them, there is nothing else than matter, which is ultimate reality and ultimate truth. To them, there is nothing else than matter, which is ultimate reality and the ultimate truth. Protagonists of naturalism are Aristotle, Comte, Hobbes, Bacon, Darwin, Lamarck, Huxley, Herbert Spencer, Bernard Shaw, Samuel Butler, Rousseau, etc., etc. The list goes on and on. What are the various definitions experts, the philosophers have given for naturalism? According to Joyce, one of the philosophers, naturalism is a system whose silent characteristics is the exclusion of whatever is spiritual or indeed whatever is transcendental of experience from our philosophy of nature and man. I hope you understand this. So, it excludes spirituality, it excludes transcendence, that is beyond human power. And that is what naturalism means, according to Joyce. According to R.B. Perry, naturalism is not science but an assertion about science. Naturalism is not science but it is an assertion, statement about science. More specifically, it is the assertion or statement that scientific knowledge is final, leaving no room for extra scientific or philosophical knowledge. According to J.S. Ross, another philosopher, naturalism is a term loosely applied in educational theory to systems of training that are not dependent on schools and books but on the manipulation of the actual life of the educator. So, according to J.S. Ross, experience of human beings is that matters. What is education according to naturalism? In the field of education, naturalism means the development of child according to his inherent nature, innate nature. The credit of introducing naturalism in education goes to Comenius and Bacon, but Rousseau brought this movement to its end, zenith, climax. The word nature has two interpretations. Physical nature, Nature or psychology of child. Physical nature is external and nature of the child is internal, which means the basic instincts, impulses, tendencies, capacities and other inborn potentialities of the child. According to naturalism, the external laws of nature should correspond and cooperate with the internal nature of the child for his full natural development. What are the characteristics of naturalistic education? Back to nature. Out of three essential factors of education, namely nature, man, and objects, naturalism gives a prime importance to nature. Hence, its call is back to nature. According to naturalists, the best teacher of child is nature. Hence, to develop the child according to his nature, education should provide natural environment. In the 18th century, it rebelled against formalism, verbalism, and the artificiality of education, and it exhorted one and all to return to education which brings about a natural and normal development of the individuality. Rousseau firmly believed that life became artificial by coming in contact of social institutions. Thus, he decided to educate his imaginary child Emily in the labs of nature. And naturalism opposes bookish knowledge. So, this is the second characteristic which we are discussing now. The prevalent education meant mere cramming of Greek and Latin literature. Naturalism opposes this education, calling it artificiality, snobbery, and mere show. They emphasized real education to be according to the nature of the child through natural interests and activities. Rousseau was such a staunch supporter of education by nature that he did not prescribe anything for mental development of the early childhood except the reading of Robinson Crusoe, because of this novel narrates the exploits of the hero in natural surroundings guided by his own natural tendencies. Perhaps that is the only book he read so much with interest. To him, all education, even the early childhood, should be self-learning and learning by doing. Naturalism, the third characteristic of naturalism, is progressive. Naturalistic education is that education which is progressive. Prevalent education prepares the child for his future adult life. It believed the gospel. Child is the father of man. As such, more and more knowledge used to be forced down into the mind of the child to prepare him to face the problems of adult life. This, the naturalist thought as cruel, unjust behavior towards a child. Naturalistic education believes that a child is a child, not an adult in the making. As a child, he is a dynamic individual who develops gradually. This development passes through four stages in his life, namely infancy, childhood, adolescence, and adulthood. The fourth characteristic of naturalism is negative education. J.S. Ross is right when he says, a negative education does not mean a time of idleness. Far from it. It does not give virtue. It protects from vice. It does not inculcate truth. It protects from error. It disposes the child to take the path that will lead him to truth when he has reached to understand it, and goodness when he has acquired the faculty of recognizing and loving it. So, negative education through nature, not through books. That is according to the interest, abilities, and need of the children. It should be interesting to the children, which really helps them to develop their personality. The fifth characteristic of naturalistic education is to put the child at the center of the educational process. Naturalists believe that education is meant for the child. Thus, it should be so organized that the child learns by his own activities, observations, and experiences without any guidance. The sixth characteristics of naturalistic education is to allow full freedom to the child to develop himself according to his natural tendencies. The school, the timetable, the books, and the teacher should not condition his experiences in any way as per planning or preconditioning, spoils his natural growth and stunt his normal development. The child should be put under no restraints, no interference, no difficulties, and no confusions. He should be completely free to structure his own plans, activities, observations, and experiences. Rousseau strongly tells us God makes all things good. Man meddles with them and they become evil. Then there is an emphasis on training of senses. Naturalism emphasizes the training of senses. Naturalistic education emphasizes the training of senses. Nothing is acquired by force from outside. Our senses are the gateways of knowledge. These senses need training to discharge their functions very efficiently. In this connection, Rousseau has well said, education should prepare the way for reason by the proper exercise of senses. Now, we have seen the characteristics of naturalism. What are the aims of education according to naturalism? All naturalists do not agree on the formulation of education aims. Different naturalists have expressed different views about the aims of education. There is no definite aim of education. Yet the main aims as propounded by all naturalists can be listed as follows. To perfect the human machines. Naturalists regard the whole universe as a huge machine. Man is a part of this huge machine and he is a complete machine in himself also. Hence, the first aim of education is to make the individual work very efficiently as a part of the huge machine and also work as a very efficient machine himself. Then, the second aim perhaps will be the attainment of present and future happiness. No past. Biological naturalism advocates the attainment of happiness of the individual. This should be in the present life as well as in the life to come, future life. Education should be cooperative in the process and bring it to success. But MacDowell asserts that happiness and misery come according to the natural consequences, and as such no voluntary seeking after them will be of any use. Then, third aim perhaps will be preparation for struggle of existence. Darwin believed in the principle of struggle for the existence and survival of the fittest. According to this principle, man has evolved from lower forms of animal life. One has to struggle constantly with the environment of survival. Those who lose decay and disappear. Hence, education should develop the capacities of the individuals so that they come out victorious in the struggle of life and the existence of this world. Then, they have an aim as the in the educational system as the adaptation to environment. Lamarck believes in the Darwinian theory but asserts that a human being, unlike the other animals, has a power to adapt himself to the ever-changing environment. This is a natural capacity. Thus, the aim of education should be to strengthen this capacity of adaptation of the individual to the surrounding. Reinforcement by education will give the individual added capacity and efficiency to this task of adaptation. Then, improvement of racial gains is another aim of education. Racial gain, race. Some naturalists believe that the racial heritage of cultural and civilizational achievements cannot be transferred from generation to generation by a mere natural process of inheritance. As such, education should conserve and preserve this cultural heritage and develop it further. J.S. Ross aptly remarks, education is the preservation, the handing and the enhancement of the racial gains generation by generation. Then, another aim of education will be self-expression and self-preservation. While idealism emphasizes self-realization as the main aim of education, naturalism emphasizes on self-expression. Self-expression is a gratification only on instinctive level. The child should be provided suitable environment for the free development of his natural instincts. Similarly, self-preservation is also necessary to survive in this world. Then, another aim of education according to naturalism will be natural development of individuals. Rousseau has emphatically declared that making the child physically healthy and strong, and view of the individual differences, education should develop the child according to his inborn tendencies, interests, inclinations, aptitudes and capacities in a free environment. Such development will be a development according to nature in the real sense of the term. Now, let us discuss on the metaphysics of naturalism. What is their idea of reality? One of the main concerns in which a student of philosophy of education must be interested about is a school of philosophy. In a school of philosophy is its idea of reality. Metaphysics. Naturalists believe that nature is the ultimate reality and is propelled by its own laws and consequently determined by them. For the naturalist, reality and nature are identical. They have no belief in a supernatural reality. As Hawking writes, naturalism denies the existence of anything beyond nature, behind nature, other than nature, such as the supernatural or otherworldly. Now, what is the concept of mind and body relationship according to naturalism? Another significant issue that distinguishes one school from another is the concept of the mind. As naturalists do not believe in anything that is spiritual, they do not make a distinction between body and mind. The position of the naturalist is in contradiction to that of the idealist, for whom the mind is spiritual and the body is just matter, which is and through which the mind manifests. That is idealism. Because man has mind, for idealist, man is spiritual in essence. But for the naturalist, man is also matter. His mind is the result of his brain function. Now let us discuss on the epistemology of naturalism. What is knowledge according to naturalism? What is the theory of knowledge according to naturalism? One of the other main concerns of philosophical inquiry, which has a bearing on the principles and practice of education, is epistemology or the theory of knowledge. The fundamental question that has been raised many times many time and again in the history of philosophical thought, which has a direct relation to curriculum theory and practice, is what knowledge is of most worth. The naturalist, in answer to the question, would highlight the value of scientific knowledge as the utmost worth. Herbert Spencer said that the scientific knowledge must be the content of living. What is the method of acquiring knowledge according to naturalism? The method of acquiring knowledge advocated by the naturalist is the inductive method. It is the method of science. It involves the following stages, that is, meticulous observation, exhaustive collection, careful classification, accurate description, intelligent interpretations, and cautioned generalization. Francis Bacon is considered to be the father of the inductive method. So, naturalists believe that knowledge gained primarily through observation is of utmost value. Now, let us discuss on the axiology of naturalism. What is pleasure and life according to naturalism? Very significant realm of philosophy where the naturalist position is distinct from other schools is axiology, or the theory of value. Naturalists have no belief in spiritual values. They behave that values are resident in nature. To realize the values of nature, one has to live in harmony with nature. For example, one has to avoid physical pain and suffering as they are not natural. What are the social values of life according to naturalism? For naturalism, man is basically an offspring of nature and not a segment of society. They would not agree with the pragmatists who say that man is a social animal. Therefore, social values need to be for the good of the individuals who live in society. What is curriculum according to naturalism? Naturalism regards religious education as useless. According to them, curriculum should consist of subjects and items which reflect the inborn tendencies, natural interests, natural activities, individual differences, and sex problems of children so that they develop their individuality naturally and normally. As such, a curriculum should contain games, sports, physical culture, biology, physics, nature study, language, history, geography, and other allied subjects. Herbert Spencer, a staunch naturalism philosopher, advocates complete living aim of education, and to achieve this aim, curriculum should contain physiology, biology, physical culture, chemistry, arithmetic, home science, and other scientific subjects as main subjects, whereas language, literature, art, and other cultural subjects as subsidiary subjects. What are methods of teaching according to naturalism? In the field of methodology, naturalism has made very significant contribution. In the traditional system of education, the same type of education was imparted to a group of individuals at a time. Naturalistic education opposed this traditional system and advocated the system of developing inherent tendencies by providing conducive experiences and the children imbibing knowledge according to their interest and aptitudes by their own efforts, observations, and experimentation. Discarding the old system as stagnant, naturalism prescribed learning by doing, learning by experience, learning by play as the basis of teaching. Who is a teacher according to naturalism? Rousseau thought the child as pure inherently. His natural development takes place only when he is allowed to develop freely without any hindrance and interference from outside. Naturalists do not like that children should be taught in classes by teachers who are spoiled by the artificial atmosphere of society. To them, nature is the only supreme teacher in whose close contact the child develops normally and naturally. In the process of education, the place of the child is more important and central than the teacher. The teacher should not impose upon the child and anything under his own authority or supremacy. The teacher should so sympathetically and affectionately behave towards the child that he feels full freedom to develop himself according to his natural qualities, interests, and capacities. The teacher is only to set the stage and allow the child to act freely according to his inherent capacities, and the teacher is only to act as a sympathetic observer and guide. What is discipline according to naturalism? In the field of discipline also, naturalist depends upon nature and advocates the theory of discipline by natural consequences. According to them, nature will punish the child if he contradicts the law of nature, and thus he will learn by the consequences of his own actions. Thus, nobody should interfere in the process of nature. The child should be allowed full freedom to indulge in the activities of his own choice. The teacher should provide such experiences for free activity. Any interference is likely to create mental complexes in the subconscious mind of the child. Thus, the naturalists decry all kinds of external interference and allow full freedom to the child to think and act according to his interests, inclinations, aptitudes, and capacities. What is school according to naturalism? According to naturalism, the organization of school is rigid, controlled, and artificial, and as such the growth and development of children is stunted and spoiled. Thus, they assert that school environment should be completely free, flexible, and without any rigidity. There should not be any fixed timetable and no forcing from above the ready-made doses of knowledge into the minds of children. Nature will do all the planning and processing for the natural development of children, according to them. Not only this, nature itself structures all the free and desired experiences and also develops the feeling of self-learning and self-discipline. The Summerhill School of Heel and Tagu's Viswabharati are models of such free schools where children are given full freedom to plan their own thinking and activities according to their own interests and natural tendencies. These creative and self-creative activities go to develop the character and the personality of the individuals through self-discipline and the freedom to experiment. All modern and progressive schools adopt this method of self-discipline to promote self-development. How to evaluate naturalism? What are the critical ideas given by various scholars? One-sided and unsatisfying aims of education according to some scholars. Naturalism concentrates about natural environment and natural development by nature. Some scholars hold that if the child is developed according to his nature in the lap of nature only, the child will become unsocial and with no feeling of social service or social good. He will develop into a pure animal. In fact, the child has animal instinct at the time of birth. If his animal tendencies ought to be socialized through education, then social environment is greatly essential. Thus, the aims of naturalistic education are one-sided and unsatisfying. Some scholars believe that Naturalism emphasizes only the present needs. Naturalism lays stress on the solution of present needs and problems of an individual. It advocates no concern for spiritual values and the remote future. Actually, life and education should have an ultimate goal. Unless there is a goal before a child, his intellectual, aesthetic, and spiritual thirst cannot be quenched. This will lead to continue to a lack of satisfaction in human life. Thus, no education worth the name can avoid spiritual values and preparation for future life. Some scholars strongly criticizes this particular aspect of naturalism, namely, naturalism ignores books. Naturalism emphasizes that education of the child should be based on his activities and life experiences. But only activities and experience cannot ensure the total development of the child's personality. How can we leave those books which contain valuable knowledge and experiences of others, forming the cultural treasure of humanity? No nation can afford to neglect or be indifferent to books. Natural activities as well as books all contribute their share in the development of total personality. Some scholars criticize naturalism on this point also, that is, it gives undue emphasis on physical education. Naturalism lays too much emphasis on the development of the physique and the physical senses. It is for this reason that Rousseau advocates natural education for 12 years to be given to a child. Only then moral education may be imparted. This is an unbalanced process of education, according to some scholars. Social, moral, and spiritual development is an important and essential aspects as physical development. According to Pestalozzi, specialized development of one side of human nature is unnatural and false. To consider any one capacity exclusively is to destroy man's natural equilibrium. Then, more importance to scientific subject in curriculum. Some scholars believe it strongly as one of the drawbacks of naturalism. More important to scientific subject. Naturalism emphasizes scientific education. Herbert Spencer, a staunch naturalist, has given prime importance to scientific subjects and secondary place to humanities in the curriculum. In fact, the curriculum should show a balance of the two categories of subjects, as both are equally important and essential in the development of child's personality. Then another important criticism put forth by some of the scholars is this: in naturalism, there is no importance of teacher. Naturalism assigns to the teacher the role of a mere guide and observer. He is to be a sympathetic guide and helper in structuring experiences for the child and observe the activities undergone. He is not to interfere or plan any teaching directly. This attitude is not considered very healthy and desirable in modern democratic countries, where various social, moral, and spiritual qualities are to be inculcated by the educational process in children. Without these qualities, it will not be possible to become a dynamic citizen promoting good to the self and the welfare of the nation. Thank you very much, dear friends. We have discussed rather elaborately on naturalism philosophy and its impact on education. Thank you for listening to me. God bless you abundantly. Let us meet in other video lectures.